Oh, and believe me, the fact that she posted nudes in a chat with 12 and 13-year-olds blew my mind. Some of you may be wondering where my original video on scientific snitch disappeared to. Where did the bathtub brew go? Well, in short, I put it on private because her and I had a little argument to start with, and then some new things came to light after we talked things over, and I realized it'd probably be good just to put it on private for now. This is more for her safety. I was originally going to keep it up for reference, but she is applying to grad school and didn't want somebody to view that singular video and take it out of context when we have some corrections to make. So I agreed. That's more than fair. I don't need to be taking down her grad school applications because of some stuff that isn't 100% true.
That's fair.
Now, our conversation went over each of the points of the first video, but also included another bombshell allegation that was not covered on the video, but rather on Instagram and in private. Now, before we get to the corrections, let's go over the original video just so people who didn't see it or don't have any context can kind of have a refresher and know where we're starting at. So, chapter 1 covered her using plastic tubs to blend pre-workouts in questionable sanitary conditions, and this was covered by Bryce Plow on TikTok, who is somebody who works in the manufacturing industry, and he called her out for her methods and put out a video.
Is this girl mixing ingredients in a plastic blender to sell them? This is literally the definition of fucking illegal. 21 CFR 111 literally exists to regulate how things are manufactured, and this is breaking the entire code of federal regulations. They're literally just blending this up in a blender. Oh, okay, yeah, 330-second settings. Do you know how much science goes into blending so you don't have hot spots? This is, there's no way you can expect this to be an actual acceptable mixture. You're just taping, let's see the label. Let's see the label. Oh, nice, classy. This is like the most illegal label. Oh my God, this girl's gonna hurt people. This is unethical.
Chapter 2 addressed the use of DMAA, DMHA, and geranium extract in the pre-workouts. You can see in the screenshot here that she did at one point ask people about taking an order for it, but as we'll clear up later, she actually did not mix it in the blender with the pre-workout. She did keep them separate to be within legal standards on it. And then chapter 3 addressed her lying and gaslighting people on the situation, and there was quite a few back and forths on that exact topic. So to revise phase 1 and 2, she did not deny that she used the blender method with potential hot spots to make some of the pre-workouts. To the best of her ability at the time, she was younger, 19, 20-ish at the time, but she did clarify that she only sold the tubs that were blended this way to her friends and family. Now, I did have evidence of people buying invoices from her, and that's one of the things I was holding on to, that I knew for a fact that she'd sold across state lines. That's what I pointed out in the original video. She did clarify that was for the pill packets themselves and not the actual blended mix. So in that light, it does look a lot better, because when you're using the bulk sups and you're putting things in individual pills, that's not illegal to sell DMAA, caffeine, Rallis, and things like that mixed, or not illegal to sell them individually, but mixing them into one supplement without proper blending standard is definitely a no-no. Now, according to the screenshots I had that were publicly available, she was selling these and listing the price list in Discord, letting people know how many there were. Now, come to find out, she did exaggerate a lot of the claims on how many she'd sold just to get more people interested, but in terms of actually getting the manufacturer, that usually costs $5,000 to $10,000 to start with, she did have an angel investor and did disclose this to me and showed me the screenshot to prove that she had an angel investor invest in the chemist business.
Hello, American investor.
I'm not going to put that screenshot up, believe me. I put screenshots for everything else up. You guys trust me at this point. If there's fucking dirt, I'll put it up there on her. But she had to sign an NDA for it, and I don't want to put anything that could potentially endanger that on there. She did not disclose who it was or anything else. She just showed me like, hey, look at this. It was all paid at once. I never made that much from my bathtub brewing to actually afford that in the first place. And that I can agree with. I mean, 110 tubs, if you do the math, it wasn't going to be enough, especially when you put out the product costs and the shipping and all that. Now, she was a bit disingenuous, implying that the sales and other figures were my claims, which she did on Discord and Instagram. She will make a correction on that to clear that up, because all the statements that I put out were based on exact figures that she told us at the 110 tubs and like the $52.99. Those were posted in public. I did not make those up. Those were fucking publicly there. Now, she did say she inflated some of that, so we're going to give her some leeway on that. And you can see that in the screenshots right here. They were in the first video as it was anyway. So nothing new there. The revision is basically saying that, hey, she did make some sales, but she did not put that money actually towards the new company that was from an investor that helped her get started. So the new company is not with the dirtier money. And technically, the DMAA wasn't mixed in this supplement. So it's not technically dirty money, but it is, you know, a little gray area at the end of the day.
It's fine. I found a loophole. What loophole?
But those points weren't the biggest, spiciest thing that we found. So now that we're rolling into phase 3, I'm no saint. I bought DMA in a packet and I bought Dark Energy. I didn't make them myself though. That's the difference. But you know, if somebody wants to buy my research product, go ahead, because I'm probably not taking any DMA anymore. Now, before I drop the spiciest of details, I need you to go ahead, like and subscribe right now, or Santa's not bringing you any fucking presents this year, okay? And as a way to see who's actually watching this and not just skipping around, I want you to comment below about how Snitch was offering up her bunny as a blood sacrifice for a blood orgy, like in the South Park episode Woodland Critter Christmas.
This is cause for celebration. Let's sacrifice Rabbit and eat his flesh. Yay, sacrifice me to the devil. Yay, blood orgy. Yay, blood orgy.
Because that is gonna throw people off. Some people might know the joke, but I want to see what you guys can come up with for stories too, because that'd be hilarious to read. Because I did that in the last video, and I had some funny ass stories about Luigi. So let's go with the blood sacrifice blood orgy.
And if you're lucky, it might just spawn Satan like they did in that episode.
So the setup for phase 3, I mean, that was the part where I talked about her lying. What happened is the aftermath. You know, I posted the video, I took a client call, and I think I had like another potential client call. So I got to the gym super late that night. So I'm on my way home, you know, merry little me, about to rail in some Reddit into my stomach, and all of a sudden I got one notification on my phone. Next thing you know, I have like 12 notifications, and I'm like, here we fucking go. So her followers only watched that brief part of the response and were immediately launching hate mail at me left and right, telling me how much they were gonna sue me for and all this other shit. I'm like, dude, that's not even what I said. But they didn't want to have any of that. They just saw what she said and did not care about watching the other 15 minutes of video around it.
I am not listening.
Now, being one to never play all of my cards at once, I still had a couple of the trump cards in my back pocket, including the invoices of friends who bought from her to prove that she did sell something to them. You know, we cleared that up on the back end, but from the screenshots plus those invoices I had, the information I had available looked pretty fucking guilty. Now, she had not presented the information about the NDA money, which totally changes the situation, but based on public information, that's what we're going off of. And as the cherry on top, in case things really hit the fan, I've been sent by multiple people the evidence of her posting inappropriate pictures in the chat with minors.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
So as things escalated and we got closer to midnight, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm like, fuck it. If you're gonna keep tagging me, I got this. So I mentioned her affliction for thirst trapping minors, and she quickly blocked me as soon as I posted that. That was seemingly a hard admission of guilt, because she blocked me right away, and it neutered the constant comments I was getting, thankfully. So I was able to go to bed. So the whole day went on. I didn't worry about it whatsoever. And then later that day, Colton went live for a live stream. I was about to pick up my dog, so I just turned it on as I was driving over there just to listen to him bullshit about Wes Watts. And at the same time I tuned in, she made a comment while he was looking away from the computer, being a smartass about the story that broke between me and Snitch. Little did he know, we were both in the chat together. So as you can see in the video here, Colton's not looking, and then he makes the smartass comment.
You guys see the story that popped with Scientific Snitch? That's some crazy shit, I'll be honest. That's some crazy shit. Yeah, oh. What's up, Scientific Snitch? I thought for a second, I thought you said you lived there in Florida. I was like, damn.
Which then ignited a pissing match between us in the chat. So as he's talking about other things on the live stream, we got a fight going on in the chat. In the end, I agreed that if she had any evidence of any screenshots that I posted that weren't true, I would go ahead and revise them as long as she had actual proof, because everything that I posted was publicly available information. And we were going back and forth. She kept trying to threaten me with lawsuits and legal action, which honestly, me being the fucking person I am, I'm like, go ahead. I don't give a shit. Defamation suits don't usually usually go anywhere, and honestly, like, her company valuation's not super high. Like, I don't give a shit. I'll fucking pay it if I have to. But at the same time, I was already tired. I had a headache, and I was fucking over it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking drop it. I'm kind of over it at this point. What I didn't want is the stress of having to drag out something else on my plate for, you know, honestly, if we're talking legal shit, years. It really wasn't worth it. If she's busy, I'm busy. Like, let's just fucking kill it. So as we got into the discussion, we both showed screenshots of our claims, which we both had valid fucking responses that showed that neither of us were technically wrong based on the information we had. But when you put it together, it made a bigger story. So, you know, that's funny how it works. There's two sides to every story, and you put them together, and then all of a sudden things kind of fall right in the middle, right?
There are two sides to every story.
I did a lot of this through voice messages because that was easier than typing back and forth. So I don't have like screenshots that pop up, but I'll just, you know, paraphrase what we said in the first place. You see, where all this started with the inappropriate pictures was her and I were in the same Discord back in like 2022. And there was a user in the server that had posed as an attractive 20-something-year-old bodybuilder. And she was like 18, 19 years old. And they'd been talking for a little bit, and he got her contact info. Now, those two were in another Discord together, and he messaged her at one point complaining that she was posting progress pictures in it that were inappropriate for 12 and 13-year-olds. Now, the picture that was sent to me was a full-on nude, and the way that he stitched it together made it look like that's what she posted in the chat. Now, when Ella and I were talking back and forth, she sent me the screenshot of it directly from her phone, taking a picture off her computer from the mod logs from that day, proving that this was just an app shot and not the shot that was sent to me from this user. Now, this user didn't directly send it to me. What he'd done in the past was he got mad at her for some other things we'll get into and sought retribution by stitching it into a chat that made it look like she was the one sending it, and then pressing her about the clean pictures in a way that made it sound like she was being a PDF file. And here was his response to all of that. Now, if you take those chats and then you put them together with this next picture, you're gonna realize that it paints a pretty guilty picture. And that's the information I had before she sent me the text and chat logs that we'll get into in a second. So as you can see from this picture, I censored it, so no, you're not gonna see a straight up nude. It is a straight fucking nude though. So to me and everybody else who received these files, it was like, hey, there's a chat of this guy riding her for posting that in the chat. Now, if you look closely, there is a little line break there, and he'd scribbled something out. So when we started talking about it, we realized that she wasn't the one who actually posted this. And what we found out was this 20-something-year-old that she was talking to in the past was actually a frustrated 56-year-old that was using Discord to catfish pictures in order to get barely legal girls to talk to him in the Discord. And apparently he was pretty good at all this, because somehow he even screen recorded the Snapchat from Ella, because actually that image that I blurred out was a video. So somehow he screen recorded that without her knowing. And then after a little bit of a fallout, he got mad and posted that in the chat. So why did he get mad at her and post it in the chat? That's the last question we really had to fill out. Now, where did that fallout happen that made him seek retribution and post her inappropriate pictures in the chat, making it look like she was the one doing it to try to get her in trouble? Well, this creepy ass man, as you can see from the screenshots here, pretty fucking cringe from a 56-year-old talking to an 18 or 19-year-old. He had invited her to come out and meet him after talking to him for some period of time and apparently catfishing her on Snapchat, so she thought that he was legit. So before she took out and actually went to meet him, she had her dad do a reverse search on him because he has access to some internal things being an apartment owner, plus you can review the number on white pages and see. And she found out that he was 56 and not the 20-year-old she thought she was talking to. So once she found out, she cut ties from him, blocked him on social media, but Diz, as he went by, didn't take too kindly to it. So what he did is he started leaking those chats, combined with the picture he stitched into group chats, so other people would see it and be like, hey, look what this girl's doing. And this is around the time she's posting on TikTok, so he was trying to get back at her for blocking him. So what's crazy about the whole situation though is I shared with her the pictures and documents that were sent to me, and she'd been looking for actual proof that this guy was the one sending those pictures around for over 2 years now. And it just happened to be the one that got sent to me actually has the evidence she was looking for. So as you can see at the very top of the screenshot, it says from Diz has file. And in Discord, that means that user posted that piece of media. She hadn't had any concrete proof to show that he was the one one posting it, but now she did. What started out as this girl's a PDF actually turned into figuring out how to catch her stalker slash PDF that had been starting all this in the first place. And personally, what's even crazier about it for me is I joined this Discord that we were all in at the same time that I was visiting my brother in Fort Collins in Colorado. And looking at the addresses, this guy lived right down the road from where my brother was. So I remember very vividly laying on my brother's bed in the chat because President had invited me to the Discord and I was sitting in there, and I remember specifically I matched on Tinder with this girl that was a model and a TV personality. And you know, me being a 20-something-year-old in the chat, I'm like, all right guys, I got one shot at this. What do I say to her? So to air out my own flirting, I'll post a picture of that because I had that happen at that same day that she met the Diz guy, which is absolutely the most wild coincidence ever. But my Riz was way better than hers, let's be honest. Look at mine versus hers, come on. So somehow the absolute bloodbath that was hating and wanting to sue each other turned into collaborating together to catch a PDF file. Not what I expected whatsoever, but in the end, I guess the greater good prevailed, and we now have a more interesting case on our hand than we had in the first place. So that's my story on the side of the whole scientific stitch drama, and she'll put out her own video addressing some of the other parts that she had. I think she was doing a TikTok video. She might do a YouTube video too, I'm not sure. This one's probably gonna come out a little bit later than her video actually, because my editor has to go through and put all these screenshots and things in, and it's Christmas week, so that might take a few extra days. But I want this to be a really good production and to give you guys all the information, so I'm okay with it being a couple days late as long as it gets you the meat and potatoes and all the spicy details.
Give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Nice and hot. Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.